Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video to do my Venom uh 3, aka Venom The Last Dance movie review. Um I just got home from the movie theaters. There is spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, get out of this video now because I'm going to be spoiling. You know the drill. Final warning. But anyways, so Venom: The Last Dance. Was a very very well done movie. Um, I don't think it topped the previous two films. But I did enjoy it. I thought it was a very good film. Um, but the thing that was missing with this film, and we're gonna get into and break down this the video, or we're gonna break this whole thing down. Um, but the disappointing thing about this film is really the flat ending. So, in my opinion, it was a very flat ending. The post credit scenes, the two post credit scenes they had, really kind of were not what I wanted. And it's not what I really thought they were going to do. Um, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that whole aspect of the film itself. So the first thing I gotta say is, um, you know, they didn't bring Annie back. For people that were wondering, no, she did not come back for this film. Which you guys know my take on that. That was one of the things that I was disappointed about Let's There Be Carnage is they let her go, to the freaking doctor character that was character I thought should have gotten killed off, but didn't. That's what I thought they were going to do, but obviously they've ended that plot point, which kind of sucks. Because I thought she was coming back there. I remember they were saying that she was going to make a cameo in this film, but that did not happen. Nonetheless, this film starts off with, Eddie Brock is basically a fugitive. On the news, they basically are saying that, he, killed the detective, Peter, who, as we all know, he, he's the one that plays somewhat of a role in this, but as we know, Peter is not. Well, no, Peter's in this film, but he's like not as big as I thought he would be in this film. Um, so they have they broadcast that. They show the bartender guy thing. He's in this. And he was in I believe in the cutscene last time, but he's in here. He had short hair, and then I guess because they even mentioned the multiverse traveling when Venom and Eddie Brock are talking. Then he has the long hair. So they were teasing the multiverse. We did see Noel also at the beginning of this. He was, talking about his plan. He had to, he was talking to his monster minions that basically he needed you guys to, take out Venom and take the key plot point of this movie is that Venom had this thing, or Eddie Brock had this thing inside of him, and Venom had it, and if they both died and they took it, they could take over the universe basically. So that was kind of the idea, I guess, for the plot point. Um, so so that was the key plot point of this. It was basically a kind of like a chase in a battlefield, in a way, uh, and Eddie Brock is on the run. You got this like, I guess, Area 51 army that are chasing after him. They secretly at Area 51 have all these symbiotes, that they're experimenting on. You have this doctor scientist who's like experimenting on things. They show her like when she was a kid with her, I guess I think that what they were saying that was her brother, who gets killed in a lightning thunderstorm. So they kind of show some brief of this character because she's a newer character. Like I said, Peter Mulligan is supposed to be dead, but he's reality. He's alive, but he's trapped in this Area 51, and basically they say that they saved him by putting him in the symbiote or whatever. They synced him with the symbiote to save his life. And they basically are trying to get information out of him. He's kind of being vague with them, as Toxic is like kind of, being very vague with them and not really, mutating into him as they're talking. Meanwhile, you got, Eddie now wants to go to New York City because there's a guy there that can help him. Which, when they brought this whole thing up, is that the key to Eddie Brock and Venom was to get to New York City. I thought that was a very interesting plot point because I was like, okay, they're bringing up New York City. He wants to get to New York City, so this is supposed to lead to Spider-Man. That's what I thought because, that's where Spider-Man is. He's in New York City. So I was like thinking that, and again, we'll get into that stuff later on, but I was like, well, the key plot point is him getting to New York City, so is he going to run into Spider-Man when he gets to New York City? We'll get to that later. But basically, they know somebody from Eddie Brock knows somebody from New York City, and they're going to use him to kind of, get this whole, thing under wraps on getting questioned or whatever, and they're going to blackmail him and whatnot. Never did find out about that, by the way, which is another interesting thing that was never really explained. But nonetheless, I was like, okay, it gives them excuse just to get to New York City. Multiverses has been mentioned by Noel, and they've been mentioned by Venom. We know this; it's been established. So we're like, okay, something's gonna happen here. In the meanwhile, when we get into the bulk of the plot, you got the Area 51 army pursuing Venom, Eddie Brock. Right. They even announced that they're going to shut Area 51 down within 3 days. It was also confirmed that all this has been done in a year, by the way. So I guess within the Venom the Venom verse or whatever, the Venom trilogy here. I guess it's only been a year, because they said this in this film. They said that this has all been within a year. So that means the first film and the second film take place relatively very close within each other, and the third film doesn't take that, isn't that far along from where the the end of the first film and the beginning of the second film, they take relatively part, like pretty close, and then the third film basically takes place like a year after where the second film ends. So everything is in close vicinity of one another. So again, when you go through this timeline, I am very curious to what their plan is coming out of this. But in terms of the action, because that's the big thing, the action was pretty good. You see, like, Venom in an airplane, trying to get to New York City. Eddie doesn't like this because they're on the outside. They get attacked by one of the monsters from Knoll that came to get them, because obviously they can detect them when they're in the Venom symbiote. Like when he's, fully symbiote on Eddie Brock's body, they can track him because of the sync they have with each other. I guess they explained that in the first film, Eddie did actually die. And because of that's why they have this, thing that basically keeps them synced to each other. Which again, that is a retcon because he wasn't dead. You don't die right away when you get cut like that. In this chest, so he wasn't actually dead when he symbiote with him. But again, this is a retcon by the third film. So they go after Eddie Brock and Venom, and they're attacking him within the water because he landed. He landed on the parachute or the Venom parachute to save him. They chase after him. And they end up fighting. They end up like fighting them in like a river. He ends up fighting them off. He actually ends up killing. Eddie Brock ends up killing one of the soldiers, which he hates that he did. But then we got the monster tracking him down because they synced up because Venom had to save him. So the monsters then started attacking the soldiers because then the soldiers started attacking them, and so 3 of them got taken out. Rex Sticklin, he is like the top soldier guy in this mission. He is not happy about it. When they get back to the laboratory of Area 51, we then see, finally, we see Detective Peter Mulligan's basically just transform finally into Toxic. And I'm just going to say this right now. This was the biggest thing I hated about this film. I like this film, don't get me wrong, but I hated this. Toxic is not fucking green, okay? He is not green, and I cringed when they did this. Look, I get the element of toxic, the substance of toxic is green, but Toxic, the character, is not green. They did get his eyes right. His eyes were white, bulky, with the black lines and stuff like that. But Toxic is not green. He is light red. He is a light red. He's not a dark Carnage red, but he is a light red. He is not green. And they made him green, which was stupid. And, considering the fact that in the later parts of the movies, there were symbiotes that were green. If you really wanted a green symbiote, you already had ones in the later parts of the movie, which we'll get to later. But Toxic being green made no goddamn sense here. And it was an unnecessary change. Toxic would go on to basically explain the situation that Venom holds the key. The only way to stop Null is you would have to basically take them out. So that's what he wants to do, is he wants to take them out, capture them, and, take them out. Because that's the only way he can do it. So Rex is all for that because, Eddie Brock did kill one of his soldiers. So he's already pissed off anyways. Then we get Venom and Eddie Brock, who basically are now visiting a trailer where we see this family that, the parents believe in aliens and they are Area 51 enthusiasts. I'm sorry. Oh, no, that was right. Okay. So, yeah, Area 51, they're Area 51 enthusiasms. They offer him a dinner. Eddie Brock wants to eat it, but Venom is like, no, throws it away. And then they end up traveling together. He gets a candy bar from a kid. Chocolate, because apparently the parents don't want him having chocolate, which is stupid, by the way. Just saying, it is, because, kids like candy, and, parents should never stop their kids from having candy. I had candy as a kid. That's just cruel, man. That is just cruel. But anyways, so yeah, he gives them like a chocolate. He gives Eddie Brock a chocolate bar, and Venom likes that. Eddie Brock says there's no aliens because the kid doesn't like the whole alien thing, and Venom basically says that was a good thing to say. After this, they stop at Las Vegas, and they basically say their farewell to Eddie Brock. And so he's in Las Vegas. They give him like about $20 of cash, and they're on their way. They want to enter a casino, but because Eddie Brock is dressed in vacation clothes. By the way, he also did give him a pair of shoes because he did lose his shoes twice now. I also did forget to mention that Venom did free the dogs too earlier in the movie too, where he took out those villains, which also did lead to him getting taking one of those bad guy's shoes because the dog destroyed his shoe or whatever. That was a funny scene. That was a funny scene too. But anyways, getting to the whole casino scene, they reject him because he's not wearing a suit. So then Venom actually comes out and bangs his head and knocks out the guy who rejects him being able to go in the casino. Then Eddie Brock goes to like a corner or something, and he basically sees some guy in a suit piss himself, or is taking a piss, on a building, or, on the side of a building, and, he confronts him and he starts pissing on his feet or whatever. And basically, then Venom like knocks him out, and he basically takes his suit. Um, Tells him where he is. The police then tells him where he is, and he arrests him, I guess. But that's not really that important. Basically, he gets in, goes in the casino. Venom gambles away all the money. Then he meets the store person from the previous movie, Mrs. Chen, who is now, I guess, rich because she won a bunch of money at the casino. And so then that leads to Venom and her dancing. So they got this dance scene, I guess, to pun the title of the movie, The Last Dance. And then this leads to the monster attacking Venom again. So they're attacking him. They got the battle going on, and this leads to eventually them being both captured by the Area 51 people. Well, the Area 51 army, basically, I guess. Excuse me. So yeah, they go after they capture him, and then after they capture him, Toxic is explaining the situation to Eddie Brock. Since Venom has been captured and put in a jar. And also should note early in the episode too, when these army people confronted the bartender, they did capture a symbiote spec as well, which that should play into effect later on. As we're gonna bring up that stuff as well. I forgot to mention that. But basically, they go through the whole thing that, you're the only ones that can save everybody. That's Toxic's explaining. So right when they're about to take Venom out, right? They take the symbiote out. And they're gonna take Eddie Brock. They're gonna take out Eddie Brock. The army's like, we gotta take him out. Venom had sank into one of the scientists, and then that led to him sinking with Eddie Brock, which saves his life. And then that's when the battle starts, and they start battling with the army. But then this leads to more of the monsters coming in. And so the whole battle at Area 51 begins. We also did see the Area 51 family sneak into Area 51, like they go through like a cage that's like broken, I guess, or something, which is just totally unrealistic because there's no way that would ever happen in Area 51. But I guess in this like scenario that Area 51 isn't guarded because it's going to be demolished or whatever in like 3 days. But so yeah, we see a battle. We see a bunch of the symbiotes that were being experimented at Area 51 sync up with a bunch of different humans. The fight begins. Toxic is eaten like almost immediately, which really disappointed me because it's such a waste of a character that was building up to the second movie, and they kind of was just. He was basically just a character that just led around the plot, just leads into the plot for everyone, and that was it. And that was kind of disappointing. But then again, they really cheated. They really treated Toxic like crap. I mean, they made him green, which again, that was the biggest disappointment in this movie. Because again, this movie was very entertaining, a lot of action scenes, a lot of things going on, but that just to me was blatantly dumb at that point. You got the whole fight going on. They are eventually going to take out the monsters, the symbiotes, but a bunch of the symbiote people that merge with the humans get killed off. they get eaten. Even the Area 51 family gets involved. The father, like, he uses a shot to, like, take out one of them. But then more come. Noel sends more. And so in the end, we see, obviously, we even see the doctor, come in and have the lightning purple symbiote as well. She ends up helping out as well, taking some of them out. But in the end, it was Venom who ended up having to ultimately sacrifice himself to take out these creatures. He puts a door in front of Eddie to make sure he doesn't get, chemicals on him and whatnot. And Venom saves essentially the world, I guess. And in the end, there is basically, they're telling him, like, you saved everybody, but you can't mention this again, basically. And that was it. That was the end of the film. There was the end with Eddie Brock talking in New York City, kind of just reviewing and reliving his thoughts with his time with Venom. Now that it was over, and he was in New York City, they show the thing with the, Statue of Liberty, and they hung their hats high. Again, Eddie Brock, condemned from the U.S. Army. Everything about Eddie Brock was expunged, but he could never mention it again, or he would be hunted down forever, basically. So then we see a mid-post-credit scene of, we see Noel, talking about another world to go in. I'm assuming that's going to be Spider-Man 4, for the MCU. And then after all the credits are over and all the advertisement logos are done, or the Sony logos are done, then we get one more scene where we see the bartender. He's in a different world of Area 51, completely destroyed, and he's just walking around. Doesn't know what he's doing, and then we see like an insect that basically looks like a symbiote spec taken over. And we did see in the river scene where he has taken over animals, there was that cool horse scene where he was traveling with a horse, which I didn't mention. That was a really great scene. The frog, he transformed into a frog, transformed into a lot of different insects, so it does make sense that he would be an insect here. In this sense. But again, we don't see Eddie Brock. We don't see anything. No reference really to Spider-Man, which is what a lot of people were expecting. This was going to lead into a, Spider-Man Venom crossover in the Spider-Man 4 movie or team up. That didn't happen here, and I was really surprised by that. That was kind of where this kind of flattened, because they're saying that this is the last Venom film, but they are clearly implying that something is going to continue. Like, this is not the end of Venom's story. I mean, you don't put that in there if this is the end of Venom's story. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I was saying. Like, I mean, was this really an end to Venom? And I'm like, no, it's not. Because one, we know there's a spec in the MCU. That was left there when Eddie Brock and Venom went to the MCU for a brief time. Also, what about the spec that the Army, the Area 51 Army, captured from the bartender early on in the episode, or early on in the movie? They never really talked about that. Maybe that's the spec that possessed the insect at the end. That gets back to, Venom finding Eddie Brock again. But it still doesn't explain when they're going back to the MCU to go up against Spider-Man. This is still not something that was really referenced, and considering the fact that they're doing Spider-Man 4 next year, filming it next year and going to have it out for 2026, you would think they would want something like that out. Obviously, Secret Wars is coming soon too, so maybe he'll appear. Maybe they'll show him in Secret Wars, possibly in a cameo that could set it up for the MCU Spider-Man 4. But yeah, this is where I thought it was flat, because the innuendo is that this is supposed to be it for Venom, but it really isn't, because it's highly implied that the Venom symbiote is still secretly alive. And even if you don't want to go through the Sony Venom universe, obviously we do factually know that a Venom symbiote spec still exists within the MCU from this Venom. Okay, so this isn't the end of Venom. This might be the end of his solo movies, but this is not the end of Venom. And I've been saying that for a while now, that this can't be the end of Venom the way they are setting this up. And even with this kind of confirms it, but it doesn't really kind of explain if this is going to lead to him, either teaming up or facing off against Spider-Man in a future film. Assuming he'll be in Spider-Man MCU, the MCU 4 film with Tom Holland, they would need to really seriously introduce him, and they would also probably have to have Holland be with the spec first, and then give it back to Eddie Brock later on. But in the end of the day, The Death to Do Us Depart was a good movie. There were, again, disappointing factors. The toxic symbiote color was wrong. It should have been light red. Kind of had that reddish orange tint to it. More of the red in there, but it did have kind of like an orange tint to it. It had that light red. But, there was that issue, and then the lack of kind of, clarity of what is next for Venom. Like, what is next for the character of Venom, if he's not having a fourth film. This is something that I think needed to be addressed, and they didn't do a really good job addressing it. Overall, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It was a good film with some issues. It was not better than, I don't think it was better than it definitely wasn't better than Let Be Carnage. And it definitely wasn't better than the original Venom film, which I believe I rated those in the 9s at the time. So I put it a 7. I almost was tempted to give it a 6.5 out of 10, but I did like the fights. I think that's really kind of saved this from being a 6.5. It was a good film, a lot of battles. I thought the chase was pretty good. The element of Area 51 was a unique choice. Since obviously they are aliens, even though they're not the stereotype aliens you would think of for Area 51. I think they kind of balanced it out pretty good. The ironic thing also I should mention is the Area 51 family. The two parents that were, craving to see aliens and stuff like that. Now that they've seen it, the father wants nothing to do with any aliens anymore. I thought that was kind of an ironic situation in itself. But yeah, guys, that is it. Let me know what you guys think. What did you think of the film? Did you enjoy it? What did you think was the flaws? Do you think the lack of the Spider-Man thing was a good idea or a bad idea? And let me know what you guys think. We are Venom. Comment, rate, subscribe, or else Venom will come because we are Venom. We are Venom. No, we're doing it. It's we are Venom. Anyways, that's it. I am the Ultimate Goku. I'm out of here. Peace. Also, make sure, besides the YouTube channel, make sure to follow the Twitch, the Instagram. Also, I do have a Discord link in the description to do a lot of discussions, various discussions, including this one topic here on the video. Also, I do have a YouTube tier list with some tier perks, so make sure to check that out. And now I'm out. Peace.